YouTube friends and family. How are you guys doing today? I hope that everyone is doing wonderful and swell per usual on this good Saturday morning. It is February the 21st, 2026, and it is currently 8:37 a.m. here in Detroit, Michigan. I just woke up, went downstairs and put my clothes in the dryer because I needed to wash a load of clothes yesterday. And I put it in the washer yesterday, but I didn't feel like going back to put it in the dryer. So I just went and did that. I kind of haven't been feeling my greatest over the last couple of days. I was dealing with something that I needed to deal with by myself. I needed to take the time to get over it and bounce back. So that's what I've been doing. So I haven't really been caring to get on camera that much unless I felt it was necessary. So yeah, I'm about to let my clothes dry and then take me a spiritual bath and do my skincare routine, make sure my legs are all extra smooth and, do my skincare routine on my face. And I need to wash my hair, so I just got it in a nappy puff ball in the back or whatever. So I'm going to take the time to take care of myself today because I've been spending the last few days recuperating, if that makes sense. Anyway, yesterday I did get a download, but I just didn't feel like getting on camera to talk about it. I scrolled up my YouTube this morning and it wasn't really too much on there. I happened to see that Channel 7 had posted something in the news about three guys being found in the basement. And I've been channeling dead bodies in the basement, backyards, and in parks lately. And I've been talking about it if you watch my videos. I've also been talking about sex trafficking, organized crime, and people being killed for life insurance money and things like that. I also noticed that Fox 2 News shared something about 3 days ago talking about the churches and embezzlements and things like that. And these are all the types of things that I talk about in my videos because I channel them. So I'm glad to see them coming across the news. And again, I don't watch TV, so I only see it if it comes across like my YouTube or something, because I don't even utilize my Facebook page anymore. I re-downloaded Facebook the other day just to share something, and I deleted it as soon as I was done. So I'm glad to see those types of things come across my YouTube channel, because that means that it's about to be discovered. It means that I'm not wasting my breath. It means that my downloads are true and I'm not crazy. And it means that I'm a part of helping people solve cases, mysteries, and figure out what's going on with their loved ones and why these things are happening. Even if it's just one me, I'm putting in my 2 cents to make a difference. And that's my purpose. So I was hearing whether people acknowledge you for it or not, you are doing a great job. So that's good. I like to see that. No, I don't like the fact that there's dead bodies being found in the basements, in the backyards, and things like that. But I like the fact that it is going to eventually bring families closure, if that makes sense. And hopefully it can stop the crime rates. And it can stop this from happening to future victims, is what my purpose is. And a lot of these things, a lot of these murder plots, a lot of these sex trafficking organizations and things, people try to make me a victim of these same crimes, which is why I started reading these cards in the first place. So it feels good to hear about people getting caught, especially big organizations like churches and things, the people that we put our trust in, the places where you're supposed to be able to go for help. You're starting to realize that these are the places that be behind these organized crimes. So I'm glad that that is starting to be recognized, if that makes sense. Anyway, yesterday I was getting a download. Now, if you've been following my story, and if you haven't, but you're interested in the things that I say, I have over 700 videos. If you want to just take a minute out of your day or an hour, because some of my videos are long, and you could just watch a video, a random video. I talk about these things and I tell my life story. So if you could just take a minute and listen, I'm pretty sure you will understand me a lot better and the reason why I do this. I'm very strong and I've overcome a lot, a lot, a lot. And my children are very strong and my children have overcome a lot. So I'm starting to notice that the word is getting around about me, and I don't do this for clout. I don't do this for attention or entertainment purposes only. I really do this so that other people can be helped and so that awareness is brought to the fact that this stuff really goes on. Now, yesterday I was getting a download and I was hearing the lie that went too far. The lie that went too far. And if you watch my videos, then you will notice that I talk about being betrayed by my closest family, by my closest friends, and things like that, which is why I don't talk to my family or my old friends at the moment. But I'm hearing that God is dealing with them in a different way because of a lie that went too far. And lies, rumors, smear campaigns, and things like that, they were started about me. One, because I was a single black woman, single mother, who I was considered to be a stereotype. Not going to be nothing, no education, so I must be dumb. Having children young, so I'm nothing but, I ain't going to be good for nothing but being a mama. Or I must be a prostitute. I must be a stripper. You know, when you come from a certain background, you're automatically stereotyped. You're automatically looked at as if you're not going to be anything. If you tell somebody you're a single black mother, you never been to college, they already think you ain't supposed to be nothing. She ain't gonna be nothing but a bitch that received welfare, Section 8, probably ain't gonna ever be nothing more than a CNA. You know, those type of criticism, those type of labels are put onto you. But I beat the odds, if that makes sense. I had to learn how to survive without help of the government, without Section 8. Yes, I've been a CNA. For 10 plus years, I was a CNA. So, you know, things like that. No education, but still having to make a way out of no way. And, you know, they deem you as never going to be nothing. But I'm like the topic of discussion in rooms that I've never been in. Celebrities and everything. But it's because I keep on pushing. And my videos are to let people know that you can be anything that you want to be and to keep on pushing. Yes, you're going to have to fight off humiliation rituals, smear campaigns, and everything. Once you decide that you're not going to be just a stereotype, once you decide, okay, I might be a single mother, I may not have went to college, but I'm still somebody. Once you decide that you're going to beat the odds and say, fuck a stereotype, you then become a target. Okay, so that's what I make these videos for and about. I was a teenage mother as well. It's a lot of kids out here that are teenage parents because of upbringing and because of a lot of other reasons. Sometimes it's teenage parents out here that didn't even choose to be a teenage parent. They were raped. They were trafficked. They were made to have a child. The shit goes deep, especially when you're born into family occults and secret societies. When you're born into family occults, I was born into a family occult. That's why I say when the Illuminati emailed me asking did I want to be a part of the Illuminati, I don't know if they did their research and they didn't realize that half of my family was already a part of the Illuminati. So that's why I say some shit you born into and some shit you walk into. So some of these kids out here, they are victim of occults, secret societies and organizations that they didn't ask to be in. They were born into. And you have to take the time to realize this. These are victims. But you too busy saying, "Oh, that's just a hooligan. They mama wasn't shit. They ain't shit." No, they're a victim. They're a victim. They're not just a bad child out here wanting to go to jail. They're not just a child out here wanting to rob and kill. Some people are forced to do these things, and you need to know that. But anyway, the lie that went too far. I was channeling last night, or yesterday morning actually, the lie that went too far. And I was hearing like a lot of people from my past, family, friends, or foes, are about to be in trouble because of a lie that went too far. A lie, a smear campaign, a humiliation ritual that was started just so they could steal my money. Just so that they could take me out of the spotlight because I was getting attention that I wasn't even asking for. But again, they never took the time to realize why I was getting attention, why I was going through the things that I was going through, and why I was such a topic of discussion. And you know, a lot of people, they want fame, they want clout, but they don't want what comes with fame and clout. They can't survive humiliation rituals. They can't survive smear campaigns. They can't survive being gang stalked and bullied by secret societies and organizations, but they want what comes with it. So the lie that went too far. I'm hearing it was teamwork that made the dream work to get this plan to take place. And I was getting the download yesterday that there's a man in this group that decided to go against me. And this man really cares about me, but he didn't take the time to do his research. So he started going along with my family and friends to work against me and things like that. And this man, I'm hearing, ended up, see, it says they preyed on your downfall. This man ended up finding out that my family and friends lied on me. But he was so busy listening to he said, she said, that he decided to work against me before he got to know me. And I'm hearing this man ended up catching HIV from one of my cousins. So obviously, one of my cousins have HIV or AIDS. And I don't know about it because I don't talk to my family. But I was getting the message that this man, and see, this say hickory dickory dock and voodoo. Now, I know a few of my people do voodoo. That is a known fact. I have black widows in my family. I have a family full of Eastern Stars, a family full of Freemasons, Masons, and Illuminati. They play in that shit for a fact. But I was hearing like this guy got wrapped up with one of my cousins or whatever, and she ended up giving him an incurable STD. And as he got this STD, he thought that I had it as well, which will go back into me going to the doctor and experiencing all the stuff I had to experience with taking rapid HIV tests and everything just to make sure that I didn't have or that I wasn't a carrier. And any guy who knows me and I've been sexually active with them, they know that I don't have HIV. So you can ask my last encounter if that makes sense, or if you just need the proof. And I'm pretty sure he could tell you that I didn't pass him anything and we have unprotected sex. But rumor had it that I had an incurable STD that I couldn't get rid of. But the download I was getting yesterday was saying that somebody got that from one of my cousins. And when the man eventually found out that I didn't have that, he became angry because, for one, he really did like me, but he was convinced by my family and friends that he shouldn't talk to me because I was a nobody, and they spread all these lies about me. But then he began to do his research, since he ended up catching HIV and he had to sit the fuck down anyway. He ended up doing his research and comes to find out I don't have this. And I'm hearing that for revenge, this man then went and purposely gave some of my old friends and cousins and stuff HIV. He purposely then went and spreaded this STD that he got from one of my old friends or one of my cousins to the rest of the group because he felt like they did me wrong. So therefore, before he takes his last breath, before he go to prison for committing a crime that he was convinced to do, he's going to make sure that he passes this disease on to everyone else. I'm hearing he purposely did this he made sure to give this STD to another female, and he knew that this female liked other females and other men that was a part of setting me up, and he knew that they would all be fucking each other, so he purposely fucked them so that the whole group can have HIV. That's some strategic, crazy ass shit. But I ain't in the mix, so I was just listening to the downloads. But yes, he also knows that there was a lot of voodoo and witchcraft used, and a lot of people don't believe in voodoo and witchcraft, which is another reason you should watch my videos, because I make you aware. Again, I was a victim of voodoo and witchcraft done on me by my own family in France, planning spell work, sending high-ranking witches and warlocks to do things outside of my house, to plant things inside of my house, to fuck with my car, to steal the hair of me and my children, and all that type of shit, to steal stuff like my clothes, my period panties after I come off my period. They steal the period panties with the period blood stains because they needed it. It's not a lie. It's not a joke. I'm not making it up. I'm making people aware that people really do this. You need to make sure you discard your pads, your tampons, because if you got a weird ass friend or family member that's into this shit, they will steal your pads. They will steal your tampons. They will steal your hair out of the comb, the brush. They'll steal your toothbrush. If you shave, they'll steal the hair out your fucking razors. I swear to God. So again, I don't make the videos for entertainment purposes. I make them to make you aware. Because in the words of one of my other spiritual cousins, to be aware is to be alive. You can't go around living life thinking like, oh, that shit just be on TV. Oh, that's fake. They don't do that for real. Because that's how you get got. It's not just on TV. They really do it for real. And majority of us, we are not in secret societies. We are not in frats, fraternities, and sororities. These are the people who know about this shit. We don't be considered elites. But the government, they know about this shit. So, being that I'm a victim, I make people aware. Being that I've overcome, I tell my story so that it doesn't happen to you guys. But again, to be aware is to be alive. So don't walk around so naive. Like I once did, where I lived my life in a bubble, thinking that everybody had a good heart like me, and that's not the case. There's a group that is being dismantled. They're falling apart because of me, and I'm very proud of that. Because not only did I save my life, the life of my children, and some family, friends, and foes, I'm saving the life of people that I never met before by making them aware. See, jail, prison, detention center. I also said that I was going to have the Macomb County Jail investigated by the FBI, because the 6 days that I spent in Macomb County Jail for no reason, I was able to see how the jail systems work and how some of these nurses are set up bitches. They will put something in your people food. So if you got people in jail, prison, and things like that, you haven't heard from them in a while, you better go do a check. Sometimes you got to check on people who are in jail and who are in prison because they are mistreated. Same thing for people who live in nursing homes, assisted livings, and things like that. People who can't speak up for themselves, adults who are disabled but they can't communicate. You need to go check up on those type of people, because people will drop stuff in your food. They will make themselves a guardian over your finances and all that type of shit. When they realize that you don't have family and you don't have friends, when they realize that you're in their care, in the system, and they think that nobody is going to come save you, they then make themselves guardianship over your money, over anything that belongs to you. And they will steal from your people and let them die with nothing. Then again, you have some good people out here as well who will do the exact opposite. They will see that you're being mistreated. So there are people like me. They go and report it. They will see that you're being mistreated. So they speak up for you because they know that you don't have a voice of your own. So again, that's why I make these videos. So those are the messages that I was getting yesterday. It's like hard work pays off, Aaliyah. And granted, nobody wanted to give you credit for your work. Nobody wanted to take you serious. They wanted to leave your voice unheard. But really, you're such a big part in the movement. You're a big part in saving people's lives. You're a big part in making a difference, especially for the young generation that's coming up. So that's good. That's good. Because I be going through my own stuff. And in the midst of me going through stuff, I document it. So granted, sometimes I be having to take a moment to cry and get over things and process what I just went through. I still tell the story so that the next person can handle it differently. So that's good. That's good. And I'm hearing people watching me like the news. Is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing don't pay attention to the views because people fuck with your numbers, but know that people watch you like the news. And that's really all that matters. That's why, again, I don't do this for clout, entertainment purposes, or to make $1. I do it to save lives, to tell a story that's true in a world where everything is so made up or stories are switched around. I try to make people aware. I had shared a few videos on my timeline yesterday as well about like Samson and Delilah out the Bible. You know, that just goes to show how a lot of men become victims of women. I had shared a clip from the cartoon Powerpuff Girls. They had an episode where they were using one of the ladies as Medusa, but they were calling her Sedusa because she was able to seduce the father of the Powerpuff Girls, and she was making him believe everything she said at first, to the point that he was almost about to go against his children, the Powerpuff Girls or whatever. And that's how a lot of men get caught up in fucked up shit. They are seduced by a woman. And that's just how Samson in the Bible was as well. You know, he was very close to God, and everyone knew that. And they wanted to take his power away from him, take his divinity away from him, take his connection to God away from him. So they used a woman. Go over there and ask Samson what's his weakness. Go over there and ask him, you know, all of his deepest, darkest secrets so we can use it against him. And for a minute, he wouldn't tell Delilah his secrets. He wouldn't tell her his weakness, but she kept asking. She kept asking, and he loved her. So eventually, he just went ahead and was like, you know, well, I get my strength from God. You know, I've never had my hair cut before. Ever since I came out of my mother, I've been growing my hair. And he was talking of his dreads. Speaking of Medusa. But he said, I've always had my hair. And again, see, hickory dickory dock, voodoo and witchcraft. He was like, to cut my hair, if you cut my hair, basically, I don't know what to do. I'll lose my strength. So then Delilah, she went ahead and took it upon herself to go and tell his secrets. Well, he's strong and this, that, and the other, but if you cut his hair, he'll become weak. He won't know what to do. You'll be able to defeat him. So they took it upon himself to lure him somewhere and then to cut off his dreads, to make him a slave, to make him weak. Then after they was able to cut his hair off and cut his dreads and he lost his power, he then became a slave, basically, a worker for them until his hair started to grow back. Again, people will do things to your hair. People will know why they're asking you questions and you will be unaware. Because you wouldn't think like, well, why do this woman who I love or this man that I love so much and I treat so well, why would they want to know my weaknesses so that they can harm me when I do so much for them? But because some people were meant to be a snake in your life to teach you lessons. So I bet once he cut his hair and he had to go through all that shit, he knew not to be telling his weaknesses to another bitch. But it's all part of life lessons that we have to go through. And again, it's just a part of God telling you that sometimes it'll be your lover, someone you put on a pedestal. Your closest family, your closest friends, those are the ones who are ready to tell your secrets, to put you in a smear campaign, a humiliation ritual, and things like that so that they can come up. The Bible is the greatest story ever told. It's one story told many different ways. It's a story of betrayal and how you have to overcome betrayal. And it tells you how betrayal comes from your closest family and friends. Cain and Abel, Jesus and Judas. So it's a guidebook for life. And once we realize that and we use it in everything that we do, whether it's going to school, going to work, starting a business, living life, if you use it when you're up, you can use it when you're down. You know, that's my purpose. But the Bible also speaks of having to overcome things like the government. Hence, the seven-headed dragon in Revelations is the Bible talking about us having to defeat not only family and friends that want to betray us, but organizations, secret societies, the government, the elites, the powers that be. So that's why I make these videos. Because, again, the Bible is a book of codes, so you have to crack it. The seven-headed dragon is the elite and the government. So, yes, we're reading about a dragon, but it's about the elite and the government. So you have to crack these codes. That's why I make the videos. Again, to make people aware, because I've done the hard work and I'm still doing it every day, learning new things, cracking new codes, having new revelations. And I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm not a hater. And I hate to see my people suffering, so I make the videos. Sometimes I'm not looking my greatest. Sometimes I'm not feeling my greatest, as of now. But I'm getting the message out because you need to pay attention. So yeah, this card said, don't be scared, to put it on the floor. But, and see, to expose the book of secrets, the Bible. They prepared us for all of this. The Bible even talks about how some people are going to have to be thrown in jail. They're going to be purposely thrown in jail. You know why? Because when you get thrown in jail, it's easy for them to fuck with you. It's easy for them to target you because you can't go anywhere. It's easy for them to control you because if they don't want you to make a phone call, you're not going to make a phone call. If they don't want your letters to get to you or to get out to your people, they hold them. See, when you get stuck in places like hospitals, mental facilities, and things like that, orphanages, orphan homes, and the system like Child Protective Services, it's hard for you to fight your way out. This is what the Bible is preparing you for as well. Because when you get thrown into places like that, a lot of times it's a setup. And I'm speaking from experience. Working in facilities, again, group homes, nursing homes, being put in jail for nothing, living life as a single mother, having to use systems like welfare and things like that. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. Being discriminated against, see, Ace of Swords, truth. Having to fight against the courthouse. The people who's supposed to help you, judges, lawyers, prosecutors, working against you. I've experienced all of that. So again, I make these videos to make people aware. You have to beat the system. You have to beat the higher ups, the powers that be. You cannot fold. So that's what I was getting. And you're going to always receive justice. It may not come when you want it or how you want it. See, this full-blown Ace cards want to keep coming out. These same people who crossed me, my family, friends, and things like that, their punishment is coming in the form of sickness. Am I wishing sickness on them? No. Did I ask them to betray me? No. It's just how God is using them to kill each other. See, it was all fun and games to work together, steal from me, have orgy parties and all that type of stuff, to do voodoo and witchcraft, but they never expected to get this and to share this amongst each other. They never expected to kill each other with such a disease. cancers and HIVs. But see, that's what happens when you decide to betray your family and your friends for a lifestyle. When you can work with your family, you can work with your friends, and everybody can eat good. I'm gonna feed my whole team. We ain't going on no fasting here. But no, some people don't want to see everybody win. They are greedy, the 7 deadly sins. They don't care to see everybody doing good. They want to see them doing good. They want to have power over others. See, students, classmates, teachers, you know, they pick on you in school when you the teacher's pet and stuff like that. But most people who pick on you about being smart or being a teacher's pet, they wish that they were smart. They wish that they can be the teacher's pet. So they'll do anything to bring you down and break your spirit. This happens everywhere. Even if you going to work and you're working for a company and you happen to be employee of the month, at a grown age, it's another employee that's mad that you employee of the month. They're not willing to learn from you. They're not willing to pick up your good traits. Instead, they want to talk about you. At an adult age, they grown ass or want to start a clique and a posse at work to talk about you. I've even experienced that. You see, so it's not just your family and friends. It's your coworkers, and everywhere you are, there's an agent. But it's up to you to not go into competition with nobody, but to beat yourself. And to beat yourself is to beat the odds that they put up against you. So you never have to be in competition with nobody else, because the one person you're in competition with is your shadow self, your lower self. That's why I make these videos. The battle isn't spiritual. I mean, the battle isn't physical. It's spiritual, because as above, so below. So God is preparing us for everything that we must go through. And again, you will forever get justice as long as you're doing things the right way. Some people's tests are harder than others. Some people must go through more things than others, because this is about rank. You know how they say it's levels to this shit? So if you just coming into a spiritual awakening, you're not going through half the stuff that somebody who's been fighting a battle for 10 years is going through. Some people, you just starting to fight your spiritual warfare, and you are going through something as tough as somebody who is now coming out of their battle. You know, that's why we're supposed to help each other, like each one teach one, not compete with each other. That's another part of the lesson, a part of cracking the codes of the Bible. Like, look how the world turned out after they killed Jesus and shit. Like, Jesus was the only begotten who was sent here to help us, to teach us things. He was a prophet. He was able to see what was to come and warn us. But the jealousy for Jesus caused people to crucify him, for him to go away, go into hiding. And he was our Savior. But see, it was somebody else talking about, move, bitch, get out the way. I could do this job way better than you. And they led us into being rebellious. Therefore, we had to go through 400 years of slavery as Hebrew slaves and shit. Generational curses. So since we wouldn't listen to God, since y'all wanted to go and betray God's son and kill him, we were then put on punishment. So generation after generation after generation, we were slaves. Our kids being slaves in the system because we were rebellious. Our ancestors were rebellious to God. Very smart. Even the Moors, they were very smart. They built buildings. They were giants. They had free electricity, water, and everything. But when you have everything and you forget about God, and that God is still God of gods, you fuck up shit. So here come the mud flood, taking everything they had, causing them to do what? Go into hiding, go underground. The same thing that people wanted for Jesus. And this was black on black crime, by the way. Again, if y'all want to say, well, Jesus was black and Jesus got betrayed by his black family and friends. Hebrews. Again, which is why we were going through 400 years of slavery. Some people are not good at learning from others because they think that they know much more or that they can do it a better way. And that's what learning about Jesus is teaching us. Sometimes you have to humble yourself. That's why the meek and humble servants will inherit the earth, because they were meek and humble enough to listen to Jesus, to listen to God. They weren't rebellious. So that's why I make these videos. And again, Jesus wore a robe and a Jesus sandals. He wasn't all dripped in gold and shit like you hear about some people out the Bible. He was very meek and humble. And still very much so hated on. So yeah, it's a program that you have to become aware of. It's a program. It's a setup. The goal is not to work against your family and your friends or to try to outshine them. Some people were born to shine. Some of you people were meant to help people who are meant to be celebrities and things, who are meant to be leaders, because those are celebrities, people who are meant to be leaders. That's why a lot of celebrities now are taking a fall from grace, because they were never meant to be leaders in the first place. And now it's people like us, or simple people, regular people, who are becoming influencers, and they're taking over the spotlight, is because we were meant to be leaders in the first place. That's why a lot of celebrities are now paying attention to people like me, because again, you have to learn how to be meek and humble. And again, I don't watch TV. I do not watch TV, but I'm very tapped in with what's going on in the world. Because again, as above, so below, I'll be knowing what's going to happen before it even hit the news, because I'm very connected to God. That's what I keep trying to explain to people. That's why I'm not out here judging, criticizing, thinking that I'm better than nobody. But I know exactly who I am. That's why when some people come stepping towards me with all that bullshit, I know exactly who I am, and I don't think you want to fuck with me. But at the same time, I'm not walking around with my nose up in the air as if I'm better than you, because in my eyes, we are all the same. But it's levels to this shit. And I was meek and humble enough to learn the life lessons as I was going through hell. When some people are so arrogant that they will never escape hell, they will never leave the matrix, because they think they know it all. Me, it's been times I had to surrender, fall to my knees, cry, and ask God for forgiveness, to repent, and to learn them motherfucking lessons. And that's why I'm so elevated now. And I'm willing to teach as well as willing to learn. I am willing to teach. Again, why I make these videos. Because it's people that are falling victim day by day by day. Because they don't have a teacher. They don't have a leader. They don't have somebody who can think outside of the box. They don't know people who have really successfully escaped the matrix. But that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm not ashamed of talking about the things that broke me. Because I don't want to see you broken. So yeah. That's why I make these videos, guys. And I appreciate the people that take heed to the things that I say, because I don't say it in vain, if that makes sense. But I'm about to get off of here. I just wanted to jot that down in my digital diary. It's just to let people know to keep your head up. The struggle is almost over. Like, you know how they say, what a time to be alive? You weren't born in a time of slavery. So therefore you weren't technically meant to be a slave. But you had ancestors before you that were slaves. So therefore the things that they couldn't accomplish in life, it is your job to accomplish those things. That's what make you a generational curse breaker. You know, our ancestors was fighting for stuff like freedom of speech, the right to vote, the right to own just a simple house, the right to drive. You know, they were fighting for the right to even be a part of a family. You know, our ancestors and stuff, they were taken away from their family, forced to go and be with other families and things like that. And meanwhile, we have the opportunity to say, fuck what you talking about. We're having 2-parent households. But if you stop and look at our people, y'all want to be, and not everybody, y'all want to be in shit like polygamous ass relationships with wives all over. Or then you will hear black men say like, oh, I don't want to date a black bitch. Like, I need me a Hispanic or a Puerto Rican girl. I need me a light-skinned, red bone, thick, nice, beautiful hair and all that. But you bashing a black woman. That's not what our ancestors was fighting for. Like, they were fighting to be able to stay together. Y'all out here fighting to have us all mixed up and thrown all over the place. Not taking care of your kids. Not wanting to, you getting yourself into situations where you got to pay child support and you don't even want to pay child support when you had the opportunity to be in a 2-parent household, but you couldn't control your sex drive. That's the type of shit that I'm talking about. Like, just sit back and pay attention to what's going on in the world. It can all be so simple, but you're making it hard. And our ancestors was fighting so that we can have a simple life. They were fighting to learn how to do shit like learn how to read. Meanwhile, we have the opportunity to use the internet and everything to teach us how to read. Y'all will be sitting up looking up other shit. How to make a gun. How to get away with murder. When we came from people who was fighting to stay alive. Y'all want to have black on black crime. When we came from people who were fighting to stay alive. Who was getting snatched away from their kids. Snatched away from their mothers. And y'all out here killing people's kids and snatching people's mothers away from them. You doing the exact opposite of what our ancestors was fighting for. Love, joy, happiness, peace. We already was getting beat on. We was already getting stolen from. So why are you stealing from each other and beating on each other? We was already getting hung. So why is you putting your own people on the cross? We was already brainwashed. So why are you out here preaching lies to our people, to our children? That's what I be talking about. So I just had to get on here and talk about that. And yes, I look a mess. I'm still in my pajamas. I just woke up. And yes, when I say just woke up, I just woke up because I fell asleep with this hat on and everything. So I'm just saying, you know, it's time to make a change. It's time to be aware. It's time to stop being a fucking hater. Like, you too grown to be a hater. You too black to be a hater. Like, the last thing that black people should be doing is hating on another black person. Do you know what the fuck we've been through? And your stupid ass out here wanting to be a hater. You out here trying to talk about somebody so you can get a laugh or a like. Like, you're pathetic. You want somebody laughing at your peers. Who the fuck are you? You are the type that deserve to perish. Because you can't learn. You don't learn from your mistakes, the mistakes of your ancestors or anything. You cannot learn. You can't comprehend. That's why the world stays in a fucked up cycle century after century after century, because it's a group of idiots that can't learn. That's like somebody was trying to be funny on one of my videos the other day, and they was like, I wish we could just put all the people with the low IQ on one planet. Y'all are. It's called planet Earth. The only stupid planet where people was paying to live here when God gave us Garden of Eden to live for free. The rent high as fuck, water ain't free, lights ain't free, they covering up the sun. This is the planet with a whole bunch of people with a low IQ. You didn't realize it? Black on black crime, white on white crime. You got the elites trying to make the lower class suffer when you don't know that a balanced world is a great world. But you want to see people beneath you so bad because you just that fucked up in the head that you think having all the power makes you somebody, when we should live in a world that's balanced. It's a group of idiots. So the world wasn't changing, because it's starting to change, but the world wasn't changing because look at you. Look at what y'all think living is. Being better than the next. But you got to think about it. People wouldn't want to rob you if they had shit of their own. We live in a world where we are living off currency. If you living off paper money, they cutting down our trees to make paper money. And you mean to tell me it ain't enough for everybody? You writing checks or you printing off checks made by a machine, and you can't make enough for everybody? But it's a prime example of when the pandemic came and they gave away all those stimulus checks. You know that the world was different. Granted, things were closing down early. You couldn't go here, you couldn't go there. But do you know it was less crime, less fighting? It's not because we couldn't go no place. Because if you had a car, you was going wherever the fuck you wanted to go. I was. But you had money. Even the poor had money. When the pandemic was going on and they were giving away stimulus checks and unemployment, it was bitches who ain't never worked a job that was collecting unemployment. But the difference is when you give a broke idiot some money, they ain't thinking about robbing, stealing, and killing because they got money of their own to spend. We live in a world where you can print money off. It's getting to the point now where we got shit like Bitcoin. You ain't even got to ever see a paper dollar. Give people money. Give them the resource that they need to live, and they won't be killing and stealing from everybody else. That should be one thing that the pandemic taught us. When you notice when the pandemic was going on, you couldn't go to hair salons and shit. Guess what? People started doing hair. People started doing nails. I was one of the people that started selling food. We made businesses, the same businesses that we couldn't go to, we made them out of our home. Oh, girl, come over here and get your hair done. Oh, my sister, she doing nails over there. Yeah, my sister, she selling food over there. My cousin, she over there. She got the hookup on the houses. It was each one teach one. Everybody helping everybody. And the world was going a lot smoother while we were on a government shutdown. But as soon as the government opened back up and people started going back into poverty, you see the killing started back up and everything else. But it was an experiment by the elites, by the military, by the government to see what people would do. And you know what they saw? They saw us all working together and becoming successful. So then they said, okay, well, we see what happens when everybody got money. It's teamwork make the dream work. Let's make them go broke again and kill each other again. That was the purpose of the pandemic. That was the purpose of COVID-19. And during that time, you should have also realized just how we came together to start businesses so that we can still thrive. We came together learning different things as well. A lot of people's eyes were open. A lot of people, like myself, went through a spiritual awakening. And we realized, like, damn, the government been fucking us over this whole time. You start researching different things, herbs and big pharma and shit like that, which is the pharmaceuticals. You know, it's people out here that started using herbs to cure themselves. It was people out here that started learning about different things. You know how many people is popping up on our timelines now with, oh, this helps with herpes, this helps with HIV, this helps with this helps with cancer. Stuff that been in the world since the world was invented. We just starting to get hip to the soursop plants, all these herbs and duck leaves and stuff like that. They've been growing in the world before we was born. But sometimes it takes for you to have to sit back, go into isolation, go through some shit, and then you really say like, well, damn, all this time I could have been doing this or doing that. But it's the distraction that the government don't want us to know. They don't want us to know that we can cure ourselves, which is the main thing that the Bible talks about. Which is why religion is not supposed to be taught in school. You see, once you sit down and think about this shit, our real enemy is the elite, is the government. They are the ones who've been lying to us the whole time, who's been keeping us sick, poisoning us. Meanwhile, they got us out here fighting each other. Then they got shows out here like Maury and Jerry Springer. These are the shows that we grew up off of. Then they start with Love and Hip Hop and shit like that, teaching us like, oh no, you gotta fight over a man. You better fight over the man. May the best man win. You better fight over these bitches. Like, no. Then they throwing all this polygamy shit up in the air. Do you see what the fuck the government has been doing to us this whole time? They control what we watch. That's mind control. The TV is the television to tell a vision. But then they put this shit right in front of you. With shit like They Clone Tyrone, Get Out, Us, and a lot of other movies telling you exactly what they do. How they test you and everything. Zombie apocalypse and how they playing spells and everything. And you watch it and you think it's for entertainment purposes only. And meanwhile, they sitting back laughing like, we telling these idiots what we doing to them on a day-to-day basis, and they think this for entertainment purposes only. This is why we able to get over on these idiots. Then they sit and make memes about us. Like they have this meme with some aliens, and the aliens are traveling to planet Earth, and they basically like, well, let's go visit the planet where these are the only people who pay to live on their own planet. Like we're paying for water. We're paying for water. We're paying rent. But then they have the rent sky high, so you can barely afford to live. A lot of people getting evicted. A lot of people are homeless. Then you got minimum wage. That's the fucking bare minimum. But then you got rent $3,000 a fucking month. Do you see this shit? But instead of us working together, y'all want bitches arguing over shit like men. Oh, that's my man, and this, that, and the other. Like, it's bigger fish to fry. But, again, it's all a life lesson. Because stop being a hoe. You know, that's a part of a life lesson. We have to one day learn like, oh, well, you know, I got to get my shit together. And it's okay to date. And when you're dating, you're talking to multiple people at times. I'm not knocking that. But once you realize that you got feelings for somebody, it's time to cut the other person off. It's no reason for you to love this man, but you like this man, so you're going to still be fucking with him too. Meanwhile, you know that he got a girlfriend at home too. So both of y'all are being sneaky links when you can let him go home to his woman. And you can go and fuck with this man that you've been talking to that's single. But no, you want to be a Jezebel spirit and have your cake and eat it too. So now you fucking up somebody else's household. I learned all this shit along the way. Because yes, it was times where multiple guys was calling my phone. Yes, it was times that I fucked with a nigga who had a girlfriend. I had to learn those lessons as well. Like, you know what? I don't want to be the type that's going down in history as the home wrecker. You got a woman or you got a baby mama and you don't know, y'all torn in between the two, you going back and forth. Well, let me exit myself out of your life till you figure out what you want to do. Go be a family man. Go be with your baby mama and your kids. You don't got to fuck with me. However, if you choose that you don't want to be there and you do like me, then it's my responsibility to respect your baby mother as well as the children that you have with her, if I plan on being in your life. It's not my job to come in arguing with your fucking baby mama. Like, oh, well, that's why your nigga chose me. Now you just mad. Like, no, you just stupid. You're just stupid. And that's why, again, we've been fucked up for so long. Because y'all repeat the same patterns over and over and over again. Men, dominant. Oh, that's my baby mama. I'ma always fuck with my baby mama. No, you're not. Let your baby mama go and find her a husband. Because you got other bitches. Let her find somebody who actually is going to love her and the children that you created with her. Stop being territorial when you know that you don't love somebody. Move on with your life. That's the stuff that I've been learning along the way. Those are the things that I've been going through and experiencing, which is also why I'm single. Not because I'm not a good woman. Not because I haven't come across good men. But because life has taught me enough to know my worth. I'm not about to be in a love triangle. I'm not about to be in no polygamous fuckery. And I'm not knocking polygamy. Because some people, I guess, have successful polygamous relationships. I'm grown enough to know that shit don't work with me. So I ain't even trying it, bitch. Find something to do. So you have to see what floats your boat. And you stay there. You don't be wish-washy. You don't drag other people into your mess. But that's the stuff that they promote. Again, with these fake-ass celebrities, that's why they're not supposed to be leaders for real. If it's a celebrity out here and they showing you that all they want to do is fight with other bitches or fight with other men over niggas and being somebody baby mama over and over and over again, just because they got money does not make them an idol. Again, a lot of celebrities are paid to fuck up the masses mentality. That's what the Illuminati was created for. The fake Illuminati at that. Because again, Illuminati means to illuminate. It was originally an organization of people who came together to illuminate. To bring what was happening in the dark to the light. But you know, you always got that bunch of bad apples that want to do the opposite. So that's how the dark Illuminati was created, where they tell you to sell your soul and confuse the masses. So you have to know your role. Know what you're getting yourself into. Don't be so quick to sign contracts. Don't be so quick to join organizations before you do your research. And that's what I've been noticing. That's what I've been learning, even when it comes to our children. You know, they start this, your kids can be in high school, the first thing they're doing is trying to recruit them into the military. Or trying to recruit them into some form of secret society, sorority, or fraternity. But this shit becomes deeper than that. There was this one lady who popped up on my timeline. She was a Delta. And if you watch my videos, you would hear how I was telling my mama I didn't want to be a Delta. She was signing me up to be in a Deltas when I was young as fuck. But there was this lady on my timeline, and she was saying like she was a Delta, this, that, and the other. She was talking about her initiation process. And she was saying like, now that I'm older, I know that they were getting me to sell my soul when I was signing up to be a Delta. And she was saying like, sometimes it's hard to get out of sororities. Something about that is going on. You know, a lot of these killings and things like that, y'all don't know how deep this shit go. When I say organized crime, these be gang initiations and shit like that. So those are the things that we need to pay attention to. Our children and how they try to get our children to join organizations and things while they're young. And a lot of times they do it without our knowledge. Even little shit like step teams and dance teams and stuff like that. You have to really pay attention. And that's what I'm here for. Just to make people aware, because these are the things I learned growing up. That I learned with being a young mother. I was pregnant at 16. I had my daughter at 17. So again, as I was still growing up, I was a parent to somebody else. So my mom died when I was 14. She couldn't teach me all of this stuff. She didn't have enough time. But I still had to learn it the hard way and teach it to my children. And a lot of stuff that I should have been teaching to my children, I had to learn and teach at the same time because I had them young. So while being a student, I was also the teacher, which is why I'm very humble to this day. I'm humble enough to learn from somebody else. Even people who are younger than me, I listen to those words that come out the mouth of babes. I listen to people that are older than me as well. I don't have a problem learning from nobody. Even if we don't agree. I've also learned that it's very important to agree to disagree. But you can also learn something from somebody that you don't agree with. That's why there's a such thing as different points of view. And one thing I learned about this world is you cannot be too good, too nice, too godly. You better let some Satan up in that vessel. Because if you don't, when it comes time to fight off those demons, you're not going to know what the fuck to do. That's why you should always study your opponent. So even somebody like me who's godly, I had to study my opponent. Because when you're godly, Satan comes up against you. And you know one thing about Satan? He loved godly people. And one thing about God is he loved demonic people. You know why? Because it's called balance. But we have the free will to choose to do the right thing at the right time. Sometimes you got to move out of your shadow. Sometimes you move out of your light side. And that's how you call it balance. If God give you a gun and he tell you to go into a room where you got to go into a room with the mafia, you think God don't want you to use the gun that he gave you? That's what the fuck he gave it to you for. So you can't be too godly. That's why they say even Moses had to kill one. He witnessed something that pissed him off. He noticed that it was unfair, so he killed them. There's going to be times where you see something wrong and you have to stand up and do the right thing. And it may result in you killing somebody. That does not make you ungodly. There's situations where you're going to walk into it and you have to calm down the situation.